I'm Jake, a senior event manager at an event company, and we were using Slack, but we switched to Microsoft Teams. For more reviews like this, click below. One of the main business problems that we've been able to solve with both Slack and Microsoft Teams is being able to communicate as an entirely remote company. In a post 2020 world, that's obviously very common, but it's allowed us all to stay on the same page with communication despite being spread out throughout the country. Throughout the years that we use Slack, we really found that the best thing that Slack does is it allows you to communicate without friction. It gets down to the process of being able to go back and forth and not having to keep track of threads and comments and channels. The search functionality is pretty incredible. And so you don't have to remember so much where you set it. As long as you set it, you can usually track it down. The thing that Microsoft Teams really excels at isn't necessarily what it does, but it's who it's part of. Because it is part of the Microsoft Office suite, you're able to integrate with all of the other Office products that are part of your job already. And so Teams helps to facilitate communication and lack of friction between the different parts of your regular working job, whether it's Excel docs or Word docs or PowerPoints. Teams kind of helps form the cohesion between those different products. Originally, when we got started with Slack, it was pretty easy to onboard a couple of people that then became champions of the process as we spread it out throughout the whole company. Teams was a bit of a bigger challenge trying to get everyone on board because there's a lot to it. It's not just Teams, it's the rest of the Office infrastructure that we had to migrate as well. And so it took a little bit longer to get up and running with Teams than it did with Slack. As we've been considering different software, I think one of the biggest things obviously is cost. We're not a large company, and so the per user cost definitely comes into all of our software decisions. Where Teams is already integrated and bundled with the rest of Office 365, it's ultimately why we chose it. Slack is there's a lot more longevity with it. It's an actively developed product. It's the only thing Slack does. And so as a result, you know that the software will continue to be updated, whereas there are other products that Microsoft cares a lot more about. And so some of the considerations we have are we going to have to switch software again in a couple of years, or is this something that we can continue to use long term?